to the Manchester is Blue show a little bit earlier than normally planned tonight, just through one reason or another, but you thought you could get us for a good 45 minutes talking all things City. Huge welcome back to Amy. How's it going, Amy? You okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So I was just saying a minute ago, Dan, you don't think you heard the call. Last time I saw Amy, we were in Mary D's and we were a little bit worse for wear, so that was never a good. I think I tried to steal. This was me that was worse for wear. I think I tried to steal a lift home to Manchester from you once, but I ended up getting the tram over. But no, man, I've been kicked out of worse places, so that's absolutely fine. And welcome back, Dan, from last week. How are we doing, buddy? You okay?
I'm not annoying anybody just yet, so yeah, thanks for having me back.
Give it time. Give it time. There's plenty of time. Yeah, there's the day.
Normally it takes one podcast and I'm there.
The day is young. So we've not got a great deal of subjects to talk about, but the main ones we want to crack on with today are we've obviously got a tour of Japan kicking off, haven't we? Very, very, very soon. The first game is against Bayern Munich on the 26th of July. Then we play Atletico Madrid on the 30th of July, and then it's the Community Shield on the 6th of August, and that's going to come in really thick and fast. It's going to come really quickly at us, that, guys. I'm looking forward to these two games. We've got Bayern, will be a good test for us, but it's one of them, isn't it? What kind of players? And talking of players, shall I give us a rundown on the squad that's going? Because there's been an interesting addition there of Cancelo. So the squad that's travelling, or the squad that's travelled, should I say, on the plane, is Ortega, Ederson, Carson, obviously Carson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Ake, Cancelo, Laporte, Gomez, Akanji, Lewis, Phillips, Kovacic, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Perone, McAtee, Haaland, Grealish, Alvarez, Foden, Bob.
Good old Bob.
And
Good old Bob. We always get the
Palmer.
Bob.
Hang on, that name's just completely thrown me. Who's Bob? Does anyone know who
Oh.
Bob is? What, no Hope and Bob Hope? Bob Hope's dead. Come on, do either of you two know who Bob is?
Oscar Bob, or
I've absolutely no idea. It's completely thrown me, that.
Could be Oscar Bob. That's a good shout.
that's the only
Can't
one.
think of any other Bob.
You're spot on. Amy Preston, Oscar Bob, yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot about him.
Norwegian
I've just heard the
footballer.
name.
Well, you're a resident Oscar Bob expert now going forward, so congratulations, well done on that. I want to see Bob play for City. Absolutely, I do. Interesting. The mad one there is there's obviously a glaring omission of Riyad Mahrez. So as the reports say, Mahrez has been granted permission to miss the pre-season after Al Ahly, excuse my pronunciation of that, met the club's valuation for him. I'd still be gutted to see Mahrez go. I don't know about what, but we'll talk about him first. What's your thoughts, Amy? You've got a scrunched face there. You're not that bothered.
I've always been very, very critical of Mahrez, I think. I mean, I've definitely said this on the podcast before. From that penalty miss against Liverpool,
Oh,
anything he did,
Let it
anything
go.
he did wrong, I can't. I physically can't let that one go. And I don't know why. He's done well for us, but I'm not. I did like in the Champions League knockout games. He always seems to turn up. So he might miss him there, but I think we have enough.
he
To
turns up for
do without it,
the
honestly.
games we've already qualified for. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, it normally was. So I'm not too gutted to see him go. To be honest, I think we can live without him very easily.
Who's going to be replacing him though? That's the biggest question. Where would you? Is there anyone within that squad that's travelling over to Japan that you think actually he's a like replacement for him?
Well, I think we have plenty of wingers. To be honest, I don't think we really need to worry about
It's true, isn't
buying.
it?
I don't think it's necessary to buy anyone. 'Cause I don't like the likes. Well, Grealish obviously got more game time now, but the likes of Foden and Grealish, I think either of them are capable of covering either. Like we need to find a way to play them together, covering whichever side. Um, I just yeah, and I'd like to see Alvarez play more. I wouldn't know what he'd be like playing more of a winger role, but I feel like he could, given the chance.
That's a really interesting shout. Actually, he's got the build for it, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I
reckon
think he's probably got
bit
the
of pep
pace
time.
as well.
Yeah, a bit of
So,
pep time. It's not a bad thing actually in learning the trade for the Mahrez of the world and working alongside Foden and stuff for that. Actually, that's a cracking shout. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think you're right as well. Actually, I bet he's got a good bit of guile on the ball, a bit of pace, could beat a player. Going to find it hard to have a better first touch than his though, but Mahrez
yeah,
has always
that
got
is
his
one
first
thing
touch.
that is the one thing.
What's
I think Foden's probably up there with him, but
Hmm.
he definitely was probably the best in the squad on his first touch. But
Well, it's one of them, isn't it? You don't sign a player for the first touch. It's what
No,
you do afterwards. Dan, what's your thoughts on Mahrez leaving?
I'm all for it. I like Mahrez. I was, like Amy, very critical when he first came in. He's still very one-dimensional in my view. You know he's always going to take it onto his left foot. It's a very rarity he brings it on his right. But I mean, he's at the right age of what, 32, 33 now?
33. Oh, 32,
I
apologies.
Yeah, I think we're cashing on him now. If they've met the club's valuation, that's good enough for me. It's not my money. But I'm sure he's on an astronomical wage, so it'd be good to get that off. But we are somewhat at the luxury of being able to take our time with a replacement should we need one. Because if you think about it, we've still got Alvarez to really kickstart and play a lot of games. He can fill in that behind Haaland role, or we can play two up front like we used to with Tevez and Aguero, or Dzeko and Aguero, that sort of thing. But we're a luxury that we have many players that can play out on the wings. You know, we've got Grealish, Foden, De Bruyne can play out on the wing, albeit not great. Bernardo can do it. We've got players that can span across that whole front three behind Haaland, if you want to call it that. And I think we have the luxury of time on our hands on that one. I'll be sad to see him go. He's been a great servant, as most of the current crop of players have been. But I think time's up now. I think he can get his final big paycheck in Saudi, like every other of these clowns seem to think is going to be.
And it goes with his religion as well, a bit close to home for him. I could completely get it, actually. And you know what? I don't think I'll be devastated. The biggest thing I'd like us to take from Mahrez leaving is to really double down on Bernardo Silva signing an extension. I think if we're going to lose Mahrez, we can't afford to lose another player of that ilk. And I think Bernardo needs to. He doesn't need to do anything, but I'd really like City to really double down and get him signed for the longer term.
That said, though, I've seen a few comments of people saying that, like the likes of Laporte are still to leave, Mahrez is going to be leaving. It was Bernardo Silva. There's talks of him possibly leaving there, but I'm seeing these comments time and time again saying we can't be losing this many key players all in one transfer window. We've just got to look back to the previous summer transfer window when we lost Jesus, Zinchenko, and Sterling all in the same window. We didn't do too badly at replacing them, did we?
That's true, and I think there's a lot to be said about the people always go down the negative route of we're going to lose them, but actually we've not lost them until they've left the club.
Change though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and if we need to go again, we'll go again. We're big enough and an ugly enough club to be able to do that and push on. And Pep's such a brilliant. I mean, if we've got to trust Pep, haven't we? If anything happens, then we just go again. We just rebuild, do what we need to do. I say rebuild. It's only one or two players, and we're a half decent squad. Hey, you never know, Amy. This Oscar Bob could be an absolute Norwegian world beater. I'm assuming he's only there because he's Haaland's best mate, and I'd like him to prove me wrong.
Honestly, no idea. I just remember seeing him. I think it was in an academy lineup last season, maybe. And I just remember looking at his name and being like, "Oh, that's a bit of a funny name." So it just rang a bell when you said it. I don't know the first thing about him.
You'll remember this. Who was the Brazilian player that had an English name and he came on? Alan. Do you remember Alan?
Alan.
That was fantastic.
Is Bob a winger?
I've absolutely no idea. I don't know anything about it.
I hope to God he's a winger, because I just love a commentator to go, and here's Bob bobbing down the wing.
Oh,
you've got to hear that. You've got to hear that.
Come on now.
And he just bobbed it in goal.
You're loving this a bit too much for my liking. He's a forward player. I know that. I'm going to get a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a bit.
Bob's overtaking Martin Petrov in my standing a football player now. He can be.
Oh no! Hang on.
What's the name? No, not a chance actually.
Well, he's attacking midfield, right winger, centre forward. So you know what? Yeah, we could get a bit on that, but he's left-footed according to this. Well, either way, listen, he's played with all the levels of the Norway team all the way through. So listen, let's be great to see him play. Actually, no, I love to see the young lads play. It's brilliant that to see what's coming through in the next generation and potentially who we're going to be selling next. The next Norway there's in the Norway under 21s at the moment, and they're playing San Marino under 21s. I think I'd like to get a game against the San Marino under 21s. I think most of us would, to be fair. So we'll move on to the Mahrez subject. The really interesting one is Cancelo. He's in the squad as well. So obviously he's in the squad to try and keep the fitness there to sell him, because he's not gonna start for us, is he, at the beginning of the season? He surely can't do. Do you reckon him and Pep have made it up and now and kissed and made up?
No, I'd be surprised. I think at first, when it first came out, I was a bit like, oh, not really sure like who's in the wrong, what's happened. But then when he went to Bayern and pretty much fell out with them straight away as well, I think
Yeah.
that's proved it probably wasn't
100%.
Pep's fault. If you can fall out with two managers that quickly, like he's obviously said or done something that you don't want that energy around the rest of the team and around the rest of the squad, I think. So I think the quicker we can get him gone, I think probably the better.
As soon as his
I
shit tower
really
got
liked
to...
him as well. I really, really liked him. He was one of my favourite players, and then that happened. I was like,
Yeah, well, he was one of the best players in the league at one point, season 2 ago,
yeah.
wasn't he? He was. Come on, Dan, he was. He was. Everyone was talking about him.
He's no Titus Bramble, I'll give him that. But yeah, he's a great player, he really is. You know how I feel about him. I felt this way about him for the past few years. I can't stand the guy's attitude. I think behind closed doors, I reckon he's got one of the biggest egos in football. And like Amy said, you cannot go and play for two top teams, albeit it's a one team league, Bundesliga. You can't go to another top team and fall out with a manager that quick if you haven't got something about you that's peeing people off. And I do think the attitude about him, I just think it's so wrong. And I think it is exactly what you said, Tom. Keep him fit, show teams, look, this is a player you want. Just hopefully he don't get in front of the cameras or we don't hear any news about him, because I just want him gone. I really do.
What are you saying if he plays, starts the first couple of games against Atletico and Bayern, plays really well? Does he?
Then
There's got to be something there, aren't there, where you think, hang on, we could keep a good player here.
I turn around and say, well, after he left in January, the players that replaced him in that starting lineup didn't do too badly either, and I'd be sad if they didn't get the game time. I mean, he could score a billion goals on the halfway line for all I care. I don't like his attitude. I hate attitude. I hate ego players. I like
agree,
down to earth players.
I don't think no matter how well he plays in pre-season, I don't think you can afford to have that attitude around the squad.
No.
So what you're telling
And
me
I'll
is
pay Pep to fall out with it.
so what you're telling me there's a chance. Right. Okay. Let's. Right. Another question for you, Kyle Walker. He's one of these 4 or 5 that's been on the precipice of leaving. Is he not leaving? Is he staying? Is he what? We just don't know what's going on. I don't think anyone's none the wiser. I keep hearing one thing on Twitter one day, another thing on Twitter the other day, and now all I hear that he's binned Bayern Munich off because he wants to bump a deal with City. I'd be disappointed if he left. I quite like him. He could do a job. He's still got the fitness. He's still got the athleticism. He's obviously a senior role model within the team. Come on, guys. What do you two think, Dan? What's your thoughts on Walker? You don't want to see him go, do you?
Not especially when his new nickname's Willy Wonka, but it's definitely.
Dan, it's 5:30. Just so you know.
Willy Wonka's a children's film, you know. I don't have to tell you what you want from that, but I think we all know who we are. We're all grown up. I'm not, but I would be absolutely gutted to see him leave. He's only 32 himself. He's not old at all, even for a fullback. I mean, last year I think he still recorded one of the fastest, if not the fastest run in the Premier League. He doesn't look like he's slowing down, and I don't think City look like they're going to be slowing down. Keep him, like you said, he's a role model. If you want to keep him as a role model, I definitely keep him. I would give him a new bumper deal if that's what it took, and I do believe he was on the precipice of signing a new 2-year deal.
It's not a bad thing, is it? Really, I won't mind him for another 2 years. The news has broken. David Ornstein, journalist, has broken that City have reached an agreement of €30 million plus €5 million add-on for Mahrez. So it does look like he's going to be off now. So hopefully we can invest that money elsewhere. Netspend FC coming in for us. I want to keep Walker. I think he's a cracking addition to the team. I think that was just interesting back end of last season where Pep and him had a few words, didn't they, about, I'm not too sure if he's in the plans. Do you think that's a psychological thing for Pep to get him hyped up to playing? Because I don't understand that. Amy, what do you reckon?
I mean, potentially. I think there's a reason that I might be wrong, but isn't it players that vote our captains each year?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There's a reason he's always in, whether it's vice captain, whether it's third down. I think there's a reason that he keeps getting voted in that, and I think polar opposite to Cancelo. I think if we lost him, that would be disappointing. I think that I don't know about bringing the dressing room down, but I think that he from what I understand, is quite a big character in terms of giving speeches in the dressing room, in terms of like talking to the players and getting them geared up. So I think he'd be quite a big loss, if not on the pitch, then behind the scenes. I think Pep very much wants him to stay.
I think the difference between Cancelo and Walker is absolutely day and night, isn't it?
Yeah.
From that point of view.
Should add as well, to be fair, that a lot of the disagreements with Walker at the end of the season, albeit I was joking about it first, was after that little nightclub scandal. I think
What did you say?
Want to
Did you say shish kebab?
Shish kebab.
What did you just say? Did I just hear you say something completely different then? What did you say then? Carry on, sorry. I must be behind my ears.
I don't know if it's something I've said now. I don't want to go back and say it in case I got it wrong.
I'll be re-listening to this podcast anyway, listening out for shish kebab.
No, it was a scandal. Whether that's what you got from that, but, yeah, the to and fro between him and Pep happened after that nightclub incident. So I think that was just a bit of Pep bringing him back down to earth and just remember keeping him focused on the fact that he is a major player. He's a very big visual point of this club and the team, and maybe I think that's where that came from. And you know, I know everyone has their own views about the Champions League final and why he didn't start that. I still think he's got a lot of starts left in him next year at least.
He's got to, hasn't he? Yeah, he's got to. I mean, there's that many games, and like you say, as long as the fitness is still there, we kind of go again, don't we? I just can't get my head around the idea of losing Mahrez and not getting a replacement in. I think Mahrez has played enough games last season, and everyone else has played enough games last season to for us not to get a replacement. I just can't see it. I can't see any of the younger lads stepping up to that level.
To be fair, Foden was injured a fair bit, and Alvarez has hardly started. You know, I think Alvarez's numbers coming off the bench sort of hide that how little starting time he's actually had last season.
True.
You know, and like Amy said, we've got to start introducing Grealish and Foden in the starting lineup together. And whether that means Foden out on the right and just accepting he's not going to be a central focal point, or whether we start Bernardo Silva and Foden in the middle and Kevin De Bruyne in that link-up role, because obviously Kevin De Bruyne is going to start dropping off with pace. Maybe he can fill in that Gundogan role. I know we've got Kovacic, but rotation's key part of Pep's plans.
I think the pace and De Bruyne, it's a funny subject, because it was like David Silva when he started losing his pace, you could never really tell, because his positioning was fantastic and he knew how to pass. I think he's the type of player that's just as he ages and his knees get a bit weaker, he'll use the young guns for the running for him, and that's potentially why Kovacic is coming. That's, I know he's not young, but he's certainly got the legs to keep. To keep busy, hasn't he, in that central midfield, attacking midfield as well, if he needs to go into it.
Definitely.
Interesting one. If we were going to replace Mahrez, where are you thinking? What kind of, are you thinking a junior player and bring him through, or are you thinking we need to go out there and spend the money? And if we do, who we getting?
I think if we've managed to get 30 million for him, so I think, I mean, we can always afford to replace him, but I think signing someone that, I mean, I can't say I've got a name in mind, but signing someone that's sort of pretty young and it could be up and coming and be in the squad for a while, as opposed to like, I mean, Kovacic obviously is a great signing, but he's not going to be at us for 10 years, in 10 years time, because he's just too old. I think someone that could maybe won't get the game time this season, like an Alvarez, but in the future.
I'm just having a quick scroll on Twitter just to look at this Riyad Mahrez thing that's coming through, and I've seen so many posts about Rafinha at Barcelona.
Yeah, I saw that today.
I don't know enough about him to comment. Does anyone know anything much about him?
Leeds, man. Ex-Leeds.
Ex-Leeds lads, yeah.
I mean, he was great at Leeds, but obviously Leeds is a bit of a different kettle of fish to...
Oh, well,
considering I live in York, I can name a few other things other than Leeds.
The last Leeds player we've got has hardly come off the bench, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Would he be the perfect replacement? Is it similar type of position then?
Pretty much, yeah. He's very quick on his feet. He has got a wand of a first touch, to be fair. And I don't really know much of him at Barcelona, but I can say from my time of seeing him at Leeds, he was a focal point. He was willing to run forward. He could get in behind. Personally, I don't want him. You heard my name on the previous podcast, Tom. I would jump at getting Harvey Barnes.
Oh,
For
Dan,
30 million,
don't
I'd
start
have
this
to get
again,
it.
Dan. Don't start having
I genuinely think no. I think because we've got to start looking at the fact that any player that signs for City, they have to get it in the head. They're not going to start every game unless you're sort of Edison, everyone was sort of teetering on the edge that Ortega was playing that well. Ortega could start taking his role. There is no player in a Pep Guardiola squad that is guaranteed to start every game, and I think Harvey Barnes has proved over the last couple of years he is a very good winger, and he's played in a relegation team. You laugh now. Nathan Ake got relegated after having goals chipped by him left, right, and centre,
Dan,
and he was
there's
one of the best.
There's more chance of Harvey Barnes wearing a Santa outfit and me sitting on his knee telling him about what I want for Christmas than him playing for City.
Get your Santa outfit on.
I have a personal vendetta against Harvey Barnes.
Oh, come on, I need to hear this.
So
What have you started here, Dan?
Get up.
For whatever reason, I put him in my fantasy team every year without fail. I don't know why. Honestly, don't know why. And
Something about it you like.
maybe, but I'll play him, nothing, and I'll put him on. I'll be like, right, I'll go on the bench, and he'll score against us. And it's happened every single time I benched him, and then I can't sell him because I'm like, well, he's scored now. And
You know what needs to happen, and if we do sign him, never put him in your team, and he'll score wonders for City.
maybe, but
You're the reason.
he's good for Leicester, but
Nah.
I think his level is your Tottenham, maybe, and a push. Chelsea.
Almost like getting relegated. And again, it's almost like getting relegated with them too.
Harvey Barnes.
No, I genuinely think right-footed, fast. He's only 24, 25. Get him cheap. I'm talking about cheap. I know money's no option for City, but over the past 5-6 years, we've been really well behaved, especially around FFP, our best friend. I just think we don't have to get a like for like. Mahrez was teetering on the edge of second squad, let alone first squad over the past couple of years. Harvey Barnes could be that, and he's still got 7-8 years on Mahrez. He's a Premier League proven player, and he played in a team whose best player was James Maddison. What does that tell you?
I'm going to put this out on Twitter, Harvey Barnes to City, and I think I'll have to deactivate my account in about 6 hours.
I think Rafinha's a better option.
I think Oscar Bob's a better option. I've never seen of it before.
Maybe.
I might be being really harsh to Harvey Barnes, but he just doesn't jump out to me as the type of player who's going to replace Riyad Mahrez in our team.
I do like him, but
Nobody listened to me when I said we should be signing Diaz.
I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. I think
You never heard of him. You never really seen much of him.
I don't really know anyone outside of City, to be honest. I've only got one true love in football, and that's City. There's a lot of things here about Rafinha now. There's Rafinha is the one name Man City have checked to replace Riyad Mahrez. 10 minutes left. Pep Guardiola likes the profile of the Barcelona forward, and first contacts have been made between City, Taxi, and Deco. Again, another one. Taxi and Deco have already had a conversation around this. This is all. There's potential.
do we
stuff
know?
going
I
into this.
don't even have a clue how old he is. He could be
No.
26 now.
26.
Oh, the right type of age, isn't he?
25, 26 I'd say, because I think he was only about 23.
He's quite young at Leeds,
left
wasn't he? Yeah.
Bear with me,
Yeah.
caller. Good shout, Dan. 26, 14th of December, 96. Right winger. Can play on the left as well where needed. Brazilian Italian. Interesting. Hey, listen.
I wouldn't be disappointed if we signed him. I don't know.
Yeah, listen.
I wouldn't be. But I'd have to ask myself, is there a reason he's leaving Barcelona? Because Barcelona don't want him?
True.
Is there a reason Barcelona, who won the league last season in a very easy league between 3 other teams, is there a reason to want to get rid of him? Because he's not good enough. He's going to come to the Champions of Europe.
This is true. Well, do you know what, guys? Let's leave it like that. Let's do only a short and sweet one tonight. Let's see how the Harvey Barnes to Man City rumours start to roll in now, thanks to Dan's. Imagine it happened now. I'd have a massive egg on my face. Crikey. I'd be taking a sin salsa outfit to him, never mind bringing
Hang on, I'll just text Pep.
Right, well, it's lovely to speak to you both. We'll speak to you next week. And listen, have a great night, guys. Catch you later, Blues.